Hello everyone and welcome to our video that explores the lives of the 7 most wicked men found in the Bible. The Holy Scriptures present a series of intriguing characters, from inspiring heroes to infamous villains. Today, our focus will be on individuals who committed some of the most terrible sins recorded in the Bible. Before we proceed, please subscribe to the channel, and if you enjoy the content, leave a like. Let's get started. Cain. After being expelled from the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve had 2 sons, Cain and Abel. The brothers grew up together, with Cain becoming a farmer and Abel a shepherd. At a specific moment, both offered sacrifices to God. Cain offered agricultural produce, while Abel presented the firstborn and fat portions of his flock. Abel's offering pleased God, but Cain's did not. God warned Cain that if he did what was right, he would be accepted, but if not, sin was crouching at the door. Consumed by jealousy, Cain killed Abel, committing the first homicide in human history. When God questioned Abel's whereabouts, Cain denied knowing, and as a consequence, he was cursed. Cain is remembered as the first murderer and an example of human wickedness. Abimelech. Son of the judge of Israel, Gideon, and a woman from Shechem, Abimelech conspired to kill his 70 brothers. With the help of the inhabitants of Shechem and resources from the treasury of the god Babylonian, he gathered wicked men to carry out the slaughter. Abimelech proclaimed himself king, but his younger brother, Jotham, escaped and spoke a parable against him. After approximately 3 years in power, Abimelech faced opposition and revolts in Shechem. He destroyed the city and salted the land so it would never be fertile again. About 1,000 people sought refuge in the tower of the pagan temple of Babylonian, but Abimelech set the place on fire, killing them all. Then he attempted the same in Thebes, but failed when a woman threw a millstone that struck his head, mortally wounding him. Humiliated to die by the hands of a woman, Abimelech ordered his armor-bearer to kill him. Still, the story of his death remained in Israel. King Ahab. Reigning for 22 years in Israel, Ahab was the son of Omri and knew God's commandments. However, he did not care to obey them. Ahab was a powerful and prosperous king, accomplishing great works, but he displeased God by promoting idolatry in his country. Influenced by his wife, Jezebel, Ahab began to worship the god Baal, leading the Bible to state that he was worse than all the kings of Israel before him. Due to Ahab's sins, the prophet Elijah announced that there would be a drought in Israel for the next 3 years. Elijah confronted the king and, with divine permission, killed all the priests and worshippers of Baal in the country. In a later episode, Ahab tried to buy a vineyard belonging to Naboth, but Naboth refused the offer, as the land was a family inheritance. Deeply upset, Ahab became depressed, and Jezebel, outraged, ordered Naboth's execution. Upon learning of Naboth's death, Ahab took possession of the vineyard without remorse. Because of his cruelty and selfishness, Elijah prophesied that Ahab and all the men of his family would be killed. And the dogs would lick his blood in the same place where they had licked Naboth's blood. The prophecy came true, and Ahab's family was exterminated because of their sins. Haman. The story of Haman is told in the book of Esther in the Bible. He was a high official in the Persian Empire and a proud and arrogant man who expected to be revered by all. However, Mordecai, Esther's cousin and a faithful Jew, refused to bow down before him. This enraged Haman, who decided that all the Jews should be eliminated. He convinced King Xerxes to issue a decree authorizing the extermination of the Jews. Mordecai and Esther, the Persian queen, acted to defend their people. Esther bravely presented herself before the king to ask for his help in defending the Jews. Xerxes, who did not know that Esther was Jewish, was shocked by the idea that his wife could be killed along with her people and decided to cancel Haman's decree. Haman, who had built a gallows to hang Mordecai, ended up being hanged on the very gallows he had built after his evil plans were exposed. Herod the Great. Herod was the king of Judea during the New Testament period, ruling from 37 BCE until his death in 4 BCE. There are several kings known as Herod in history, but the most famous one is Herod the Great, mentioned in the Bible as the king who tried to kill Jesus when he was born. Herod was born into a powerful Jewish family, but was not considered a true Jew because his family had converted to Judaism. He ascended to power with the help of Rome and acquired the title of King of the Jews. Herod was known for his cruelty and paranoia, killing many people in his quest for power and stability of his kingdom. In addition to attempting to kill Jesus, Herod is known for having murdered several members of his own family, including his wife, his sons, and other relatives, out of suspicion of betrayal. He also killed many religious and political leaders of the time. Pharaoh of Egypt. The pharaoh mentioned in the story of Moses is considered by many scholars to be Ramses II, one of the most powerful pharaohs of ancient Egypt. He had one of the hardest and most stubborn hearts ever recorded in history. Despite the 10 plagues that God sent to convince him to free the Israelites from slavery, Ramses II continued to defy divine authority. Initially, when Moses and his brother Aaron went to speak with Pharaoh asking for the liberation of the Israelites, Ramses II refused to grant the request and even increased the slaves' workload. Then, God sent the first plague, turning the water of the Nile into blood, but Ramses II remained inflexible. The following plagues were equally devastating, including invasions of frogs, lice, flies, the death of livestock, boils, hailstorms and fire, locusts, and 3 days of darkness. However, Ramses II continued to resist, sometimes making empty promises to free the Israelites, only to backtrack later. It was only after the last plague, which resulted in the death of all the firstborn in Egypt, including Ramses II's own son, that the pharaoh finally allowed the Israelites to leave Egypt. Even so, he changed his mind and pursued the Israelites with his army, only giving up when the Red Sea opened to allow the Hebrews to pass through and then closed to swallow the Egyptian soldiers. Nebuchadnezzar. In the Bible, Nebuchadnezzar is one of the most well-known characters of the Old Testament. He conquered Jerusalem twice, destroyed Solomon's temple, and took many Jews captive, initiating the period of Jewish history known as the Babylonian captivity, which lasted for about 70 years. Nebuchadnezzar built a large golden statue and ordered all his subjects to bow down and worship the image when the music played. 3 Hebrew youths, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused to worship the statue because it went against their faith in God. The king, furious at their disobedience, ordered them to be thrown into a blazing furnace. However, to everyone's surprise, the young men were not consumed by the fire. They were protected by an angel sent by God and walked unharmed in the midst of the flames, while the guards who threw them in were burned to death. Witnessing this miracle, Nebuchadnezzar acknowledged that the Hebrew youths were saved by the living God. He ordered them to be freed from the furnace and publicly honored them for their faith and courage in the face of the true God. We hope you enjoyed learning more about these infamous characters from the Bible. If you liked the video, please leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive our latest videos firsthand. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.